So under this bag is the power jack. Those are the buttons for the light and to raise and lower. When you're not using this, we recommend keeping this covered. Keep water off the motor. This is your changeover valve. You just select this left or right. That'll select which tank you're going to use. In the center, you'll see it's green, and that's to show you there's gas in the tank. If the tank runs out, you'll see that turn red. It'll try to use the second tank. These are your water connections. That's to fill your freshwater tank. This is your city water that you use at the campground. This middle port is only for antifreeze. That's just when you winterize the unit. This is the water heater, which is controlled on the inside. Again, during winterization, we have to get in there to drain it. And there's a couple things in here. This is where you'd access your water pump, your water filter. There's also some shut-off valves for the water heater. There's also a little box up there, which is the slide-out controller, and that's used if you have to reset this bedroom slide out. There's some directions printed on there to close this thing manually. Now down below you'll see that's your fresh water drain, and over here is your black and gray drain. That's your black valve. The gray valve, you got to go up the pipe a little bit. You'll see it right over there, but it all comes out the central location. That's a black tank flush. That's when you empty the black tank, you connect a hose, and that will flush out your black tank for you. Usually let that run for a minute or two, and that should clean it out pretty nice for you. This is if you've got cable or satellite, you can connect that in. It's your outside shower. It's the vent for your furnace. This is the stove vent. This is the vent for your fridge over here. That's the drip hose. If there's ice inside the coils, you'll see water drip from that. This hole is to crank. If you had to crank a slide out closed manually, see that hole lines up with that drive shaft, and that will close the rear slide outs. That's your electric inlet. On the door side, you'll see a button in the front and in the back to run your stabilizer legs. And these come down together. Here's the front button. Basically, you just hold this down, and that'll allow those legs to lower. Once they touch the ground, and then retract, that'll bring them back up. These legs, they're not to lift the camper up in the air. This is just to stabilize, so when you're walking, it's not as bouncy inside. In this compartment, so that's an outside table. That's your outside stove. And that's the power cable to plug in the unit. There's also some hand cranks. You'll see a hand crank there and a hand crank over there. That short hand crank goes in the front jack. That's to raise and lower that if your battery's dead. That long crank you can use on your slide outs so that you can open and close those manually if there's a problem. These are the fuses and circuit breakers that you just push and it opens. Not typical, you have to go in there and mess with anything. Now in the bathroom behind the door, there's a battery disconnect switch down here, and this is used when you store the camper. You want to push that switch in, and that shuts everything off. But anytime you're using this camper, you want the switch out, and that turns the battery on so that everything will work properly. You got a light switch here. There's a GFI outlet down here. This is connected to other outlets in the camper, so if something's not working, you'll want to check that outlet. There's a TV hookup here in the bedroom. There's a location if you wanted to install a bracket. It's right where this sticker goes. There's a backer in there to connect that. There's a bathroom vent with a fan. There's also a bedroom vent with a fan. There's just buttons to turn all these lights on and off. Down here, there's a 12-volt port. If you wanted to charge cell phone, there's also 110 port. This is the main control panel, so this will let you open and close your slide outs. That opens and closes your awning. These are all light switches here on the bottom. These are your holding tank gauges. This will show you how much water's in the tank. Water pump, that's if you're boondocking, if you're camping someplace with no water connection, then you turn your pump on. And water heater, that turns on your water heater. Now that's for gas mode. If you want to use electric, there's another switch, and I'll show you where that is in a second. So if you're plugged in, you want electric hot water. This is the solar panel monitor here. This will show you what the solar panel is doing. It'll show you battery charge level. This runs automatic. The buttons, you don't have to ever touch this. It's just here to look at. If you hit the button, it'll go through the different displays. It'll tell you amperage, voltage, and whatnot. Normally, you just leave it alone. It runs itself. You don't really have to mess with anything there. All right, back here is the radio for the unit. This has some speaker zones over here on the right-hand side. So once this comes on, A is the living room, B is the bedroom, and C is outside. So you can put all three together and it'll play everywhere if you'd like. This also has a DVD player built in. Behind the TV, this is a swivel bracket. You can get a good shot of it there. So you can angle this, you know, left and right, kind of move it around as you see fit. There is also a, right in here, oh, it's a little dark in here. See, there's a little green light right there. This is the antenna switch. So that, if you want to use the antenna, just come in here and turn that switch on. If you go somewhere with cable, you have to turn the switch off. In the pouch, that's all the original paperwork for the unit. Those are the remotes for the TV and the radio. Switches for the fridge, you just turn it on and off. It's automatic, pretty simple. So this is the air mattress in that bag. That's to make this into a bed. This one's simple. Just grab it here, and you can see, I'm not going to pull it all the way, but you can see this pulls all the way out. To make this into a bed, just grab that, pull it all the way forward, and that'll give you a flat platform, and then you inflate the air mattress. The last thing's a thermostat. And this is pretty simple. You just set your temperature on there, and then you pick heat or cool.